We in?
We are now.
All right. We'll give it a few minutes to see if anyone tunes in. Anyone tuning in? Not yet. Come on! God damn it! Don't waste my time! Because, you know, I got so much important shit to do.
Here we go.
A lot of people. How many people are tuning in? Give it a few more. Give it another minute. Get some more people in. Talk about random stuff. Got some random stuff. Might find some of it pretty cool, pretty interesting. I don't know. Give it another minute. Let some people tune in. I am not in the habit of doing this stuff, and I'm more of a writer than a talker, so hopefully this will kind of go good. How many more people we got in there now? Okay. Well, all right. Let's get going. I'm going to talk about some stuff that I got that I've accumulated over the years, just some random flyers and posters and stuff, and what I remember about it. I also got a few extra things that aren't mine that came from the collection of Jason Griscom, and he generously allowed me to borrow it. So I'm going to look at some of that stuff too. I'm going to start with just some randomness. I got this from Clayton a long time ago. This is like unused artwork for a, I don't know if it was for a t-shirt or for a flyer or what, but some stuff going back, looks like it's from the Blood of Freaks era. I think that was used on the Raw Shit insert. I've seen the original of that. I thought I had the original of that. This is like pasted on. This is like a cut and paste job. And why they never used it, I don't know, because I think it's pretty cool. I don't know what y'all think about it, but I like it. I thought it'd be something interesting to share with you. It's some old school, unused original art. That'll get us started. Let's see, what all do I got here? All right, we got a question. What's the question?
Thoughts of Jimmy Valiant.
Oh, Boogeyman Jimmy Valiant. He's all right. Met him a couple of times. He's a good person. I got his book. Worth buying. Find it. All right. This is before my time. This is an old school flyer. This is from Jason Griscom's collection. The old 4808 Club. Bazooka Joe, though, I saw them one time. They were a really good band from Myrtle Beach. And I think we played, one of the guys, I think, still playing down there. I can't remember what his band was called, but they opened for us. Well, God, it's been probably 10 years ago now. Doesn't feel like it's that long ago, but that's a cool old school flyer. I always dug that one. But that's before my time. That was before I got involved. Jason also provided me with this. Now, this is something that's super rare. I don't know how many people even know this exists. There was a fan club for ANTiSEEN. They published this, the Scream Zine. This is issue number 1. And I don't know that they made more than one. I don't know if there's one or two. I think I've only ever seen the one. But this covered, obviously, the first 2 years. I think this came out in '89. And it's got lots of cool stuff in it. Check this out. This is a copy of ANTiSEEN's first ever set list. And it's got song titles in it that I don't know. Capital City, Idiot, Bermuda, Bill's song. Bill Cates, what is Bill's song? What is that? I wonder if that's that song The Witch. Didn't he write that? I don't know. Somebody will correct me on that and tell me. I don't know. But okay, there's a flyer, repro of the flyer they did with The Exploited. Jeff, I think, talked about that in one of his recent histories. So there's a lot of cool stuff in that. I don't even know how you'd even find this. This is the only one I've ever... No, I take that back. I've seen one other copy. And they also issued a live cassette called Live at the Park Elevator, and I've only ever seen one of those. So there's stuff that even I have never seen or rarely ever got to see. But I thought that was a cool thing, and I really appreciate Jason letting me share that with y'all, because it's a one of a kind for sure. All right, what else do we got here? All right, prehistory for me. This is a flyer for a show that was almost the first ANTiSEEN show I ever saw. And I don't remember what the deal was. I probably got in trouble with my mom or something, and I wasn't able to go. But I remember I used to have this flyer, and I was like I remember being really stoked I was going to go see it. But it's notable because Jeff's brother's band, Rawhead, who Malcolm talked about in his recent thing, opened the show, and it was the first show on their Blood of Freaks tour. That's that show, that tour in '89 that took them up through the Northeast when they did the Live at Danbury thing. So this was summer of '89, I believe. And Rawhead, I never got to see them, but one of the guys from Rawhead is has helped me recently record some new Mad Brother Ward stuff, which is something Malcolm was going to probably put out soon. So I missed that show, but fate would intervene. And this is the flyer to the first ever ANTiSEEN show that I ever got to see. September 1st, 1989 at the Milestone. Start the school year off bad with ANTiSEEN. And I'll tell you, that was kind of a foreshadowing because 2 weeks later Hurricane Hugo hit and we were out of school for the next 3 weeks. So whether that was good or bad, I don't know. But, you know, kind of like what it is now, only not maybe quite as long. But yeah, so I got to see ANTiSEEN that night. There's a lot of things about this show that I remember. I did not see Slam Chowder that night. I had seen them once before, and to my knowledge, they disappeared right after this. Charlotte has a real interesting history of bands just sort of popping up and disappearing. Usually those people stay around and play music and do stuff. I don't think these guys ever did. I never heard anything about them, so I don't know. But I remember seeing them one time and I liked them, but you know, I was 17. It was all new to me. The other thing I remember about this show is they did this weird thing where they played Surfing Bird, and Joe sang, and Jeff played guitar, so they switched. And then halfway through the song, Jeff and Tom switched, and Tom played guitar and Jeff played bass, and Joe Young sang. And that was the only time I ever saw them do that, and it exists. That's one thing I was hoping to get from Jason. I was hoping they put out a videotape, a home video, and it was kind of crudely put together, but it was pretty cool. It's called Video Shit. And if anyone has that's I don't even know how many they made, but it was a compilation of different live clips, and there was a good selection of songs from that show on that video. And I really wish I had it because it was my first ever show, and you can see me in the video. It was pretty cool. But you know, me being a long-haired dork instead of a bald-headed dork. No. But anyway, this is from Jason Griscom's collection too. This will be the last one from his collection. And the reason why I wanted to pull this one out was I can remember seeing this flyer on a kid's wall. I won't say who it was, but he had defaced it and wrote stuff like, "We think we're big rock stars," and "We think we're cool," and stupid shit like that. And I remember thinking, that's kind of fucked up, you know, because my experience with these guys were they were always helping people. And I'm like, where do you think they got any kind of attitude? Because I never saw it. They were always helping these younger bands do stuff. But I remember seeing this flyer defaced, and that kind of really gave me the gut punch to go, hey, you know what? I'm going to form a band. I'm going to do it too. And you know what? You know, I'm going to, you know, it was kind of just to fuck with that other guy's band. And I'm still playing music and he isn't. Anyway. Let's see here. This is from 1990. The 1313 Club. And some of this show is on YouTube. Chris Michael posted some of this on YouTube along with some backstage stuff. Just put in ANTiSEEN 1990. I believe it'll pop up. For a long time I thought this show was in 1989, but it wasn't. It was 1990, obviously. And this is the Walking Dead artwork that they used quite a bit around that time. I remember Joe Young not really liking this art. I don't remember what his issue was, but I think he felt like outside of Jeff, the rest of the guys were kind of generic. And it seemed like they tried to, well, I'll get to this in a minute, but there's this kind of pops up again a little bit later in history. That's the night I got to meet the guys in Catacomb, John Marlowe and Andy Cobble and Tim Killo, and they were good dudes. Tim, I believe, I don't know if Tim's still playing music. John definitely still plays music, and I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and he's a solid, good dude. Andy's always been a good dude. I've always liked him. Hadn't seen him in a while, but Jose, right? He had that damn Wicked Ways. ANTiSEEN helped them a bunch. Jose was a great dude, still is. Another thing about this show, they printed tickets, and I still have my ticket stub from that very same said show. 30 years ago almost. That was a long time ago, but I still remember it. That was the first time I think they did this a couple of times. They had a gimmick where they did the song My God Can Beat Up Your God, which Malcolm Tent wrote, which they talked about. And Jeff would come out on stage with the cross and the crown of thorns. And there was it caused some controversy. There was a letter about it in the Creative Loafing about a week or two later. I remember that. But that was back when you could still kind of, rankle people with stuff like that. Nowadays, people would just be like, meh. But back then, that was kind of like, oh my God! So let's get to this. Summer of 1991. And this show was kind of significant because I was the drummer of this band called Failure. That's right, I was the drummer. I only drummed one show with them, and that was this show. And it was our first show. It was the first show I ever played. This was the summer of 91. I formed this band with a guy named Brad Mullins, who's also still playing music up in Raleigh. And Brad just had like a massive amount of talent, and it was hard to keep up with. And we end up locking horns over stupid shit, which is dumb, but we're still friends, and Brad's still playing music, which I'm glad to hear. But he and I both simultaneously, somehow, we were both still living with our parents, and we got kicked out of our houses that same week. And I remember when the night was over, us kind of going, wow, we did it. Played our first show, feeling really accomplished or whatever. And then it was like, well, now what? Where do we go? What do we do? But the other thing I can remember about this show is that was the night they had the Milestone had built the stage extension, because their stage is pretty small. It's pretty low and pretty small. And they had built an extension about 3 foot kind of deep, I guess you'd say. But it was just fast. It wasn't fastened to the floor. It was almost like a low, because the stage was low. It was at the same level. And I figured out at some point it wasn't fastened to the floor. It was almost like a table, And we flipped that thing over at the end of the night. We lifted it up and it broke, and I think that caused some problems. We've got a question coming in.
Any flyers with ANTiSEEN and Streets?
I have no flyers of that, no. I don't know that they actually ever played a show together. Jeff would have to talk about that. I know Jeff was a big fan, and Scott Savage was real supportive of me when I was starting out doing the Mad Brother Ward stuff. And those guys are really cool. And Jeff Murdoch was a bass player in that band, recorded a lot of ANTiSEEN stuff, and he recorded the early Mad Brother Ward records as well. And he's no longer with us, sad to say. But Scott Savage is, and of course, I don't know. I'm hoping we'll hear something from Scott Savage soon. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a long, long time. I do have the Streets record, though. This is a flyer, late 91. This place called the New Millennium, which is a gay bar now over in the plaza. I think it was ran and owned by the same guy that did the Pterodactyl Club in Charlotte. But I always just thought this was a cool picture. I just like this flyer. I just like this picture. I thought it was a cool picture. It seemed really unaffected. It's kind of a candid shot, semi-posed, I guess you'd say. I remember the show that night. The opening band was like this kind of. I like that there's not even an opening band listed. I don't remember the name of the opening band. They were kind of like this cheesy kind of metal band, but they were trying to like figure their way into the new grunge thing or something, and they did not go down well at all. We heckled the hell out of that band, and they just sat there in between songs going, oh, thanks. And we're like, get off the goddamn stage! But anyway, whatever. Here's a flyer from the first year. You know what? I have a poster from almost every European tour that I just got for my own amusement. I didn't get to obviously go on those tours back then. I don't have the first European tour poster. I used to have it. I don't know what I did with it. But I do have a kind of unusual poster for one show. These are the kind of things they would do for just one show over there. It was a silkscreen poster. And I'm pretty sure this is from that first tour in, I think, 92, I believe it was. And I don't know where it's for. I don't read the language, but it's a cool poster. I like stuff that's really unusual and different, and that one's pretty unusual and different. There's another one. I wish I had. Eddie from the Monsters has it. He has it hanging on his wall. It's got this big whiskey bottle on it and stuff. It's pretty cool. So we got another question.
Any ANTiSEEN / wrestling shows?
No, but I got stuff that sort of has crossover to it. I'll get to that here with actually, you know what? First ever Mad Brother Ward show opening for ANTiSEEN. This is January of '93, and I used this picture a lot. I was trying to get a lot of mileage off this picture. Sabu and Onita in a no ropes barbed wire match. And this came from a full color centerfold from a wrestling magazine. It looked like someone just dumped buckets of blood on them. It was like really, really pretty crazy, especially for that era. And we just thought that was about the coolest thing. And I made this flyer for that for that show. I remember me and Charles Inman, and I think maybe Tom Nally, walking up and down 7th Street and Elizabeth Avenue and Central Avenue one night, freezing our ass off, putting these flyers up, losing feeling in our fingers, you know, stapling them to the telephone poles. You could do that back then. No one does stuff like that anymore because you don't have to, but back then that was the way you did it. ANTiSEEN made flyers too. They had a poster flyer for it, but I don't have that anymore, but they do have this flyer. I like this one too. Jeff made that one for the same show. Although we used to laugh because it looks like Joe Young's got big cartoon cat eyes. But that was the flyer for that. But this was the very first Mad Brother Ward show ever. Cocknews came in and played. I can't remember if that was the first time they played Charlotte. I think it was. It was a crazy night. And I got to tell you, it's hard to explain. And even there's video, and I think there's video of it on YouTube now. It's really hard to imagine, though. Even watching the video, it doesn't carry over quite the same. The Cosmic Commander of Wrestling was the guest MC for that show, and he came in and got people stirred up. And he was pretty I don't know, he needled the skinheads pretty hard. There was a skinhead thing in Charlotte back then, and this was the last time we ever saw any of that, because he came in and rowdied up these guys to the point they wanted to kill him. I mean, they wanted to kill him. And it was just madness. It's hard to explain, but if you can see in the video, it's like something would happen, and you would kind of see this, kind of wall of. There was probably, I mean, when I say skinhead thing, there were 6 or 8 of them, maybe 10, and then there was all the Cocknews guys and the ANTiSEEN guys and the Mad Brother War guys, and so you got this other wall of fucking leather jackets, and it was like Jeff had to stop the show at one point, and I remember he knocked out a kid. He had this mic stand that he had wrapped in like 3 rolls of duct tape. And he just was like, wham, wham, and he put a kid out with that. So it was a nutty night. What we got? Question?
Did ANTiSEEN do any shows with Ghost Story?
With Ghost Story, I don't know. I remember that band playing. That was related to Andy. I think Andy might have even. I don't know if Andy Cobble played in that band or not. I think it was his brother's band, but I don't. That's a long time ago. I'm sure they probably did, but I just really can't say for sure. I don't remember directly. I think I saw Ghost Story once. Here's something. I got 2 of these. This is in poor condition. That's the 10th anniversary show. And what they did on this was they played 2 separate nights at the Milestone Club, and the first night was just guest bands, I guess you could say. There were no opening bands on the second night. ANTiSEEN played 2 sets, which was really unusual. They usually didn't do sets, not like multiple sets. But there was a limited number of these silkscreen posters, and every once in a while these still pop up. I can't remember who did the art on this. It was oh Jesus, I can't think of the guy's name. It's right. I'm trying to find it down here. Anyway, I got 2 of these. The other one's squirreled away. This one's in a lot worse shape. The other one's in more pristine shape. Trying to remember stuff about that show. I had been banned, I remember that night, and had a note pop up on stage right before. The reason why I was able to get in and play was because it was quote unquote private party. It was semi-private. It was also, open to the public to a certain extent. When I played, and there was a note saying "you break, you buy," because I had a problem with breaking shit. Let's see, who else played that night? Cocknews came in and played. The Murder Junkies were there and played. It might have been one of the first nights that Jeff ever sang with them. Gigi had passed that summer, and that was probably maybe the first show they did after Gigi died. So that was memorable. And then the night of the 10th anniversary, that was just a really good night. That was a something it's real special, and it felt. You could felt it was almost like you felt that one era was ending and another era was beginning in a weird way, and not in any way that I can readily just go, well, this happened, because it wasn't like that. But they had been building really hard for 10 years, and they just started doing the European runs, and stuff was really starting to really go over the top. So we got another question.
Who was the worst band to open for ANTiSEEN?
Oh, who that I saw? Probably that band I just mentioned. I can't remember names a lot of times. I saw a lot of opening bands for ANTiSEEN, and some of them have been pretty bad. Some of them, there's that dividing line where like some are like young bands and they're bad, but they've got a lot of spirit and a lot of, and it actually makes them good. And then there are bands that have been around a long time, and you're just like, why? But I'm not the one to say. I think this is from. I don't think this is October. No, this is. I don't know if this is 93 or 94. I think it's 94. No, I think it's. I don't know. There was a club called Heretics, and that ended up being the only place where I could play. We opened that show. Brad, that I mentioned earlier, that I started my first band with, he had this band called the Furies. They played. Popes on Dope, a guy named Eric Huskins had that band.
93.
93. He has a band now called the Van Huskins, and they're really good. A guy named, I don't know if Mike Phillips was in that band with him or not. I can't remember. I think that might have been the night I got on stage with him and did a Dwarf song. And then ANTiSEEN played, and I remember there were these big fluorescents above the stage, and that they used, for when they were, when they turned the fluorescents off and they had their stage lights. But we wanted to keep the fluorescents on, or ANTiSEEN wanted to keep the fluorescents on. And at the end of it, Jeff smashed them, and it just rained down. It was like all that dust and stuff. It was really cool. This was the night that the Milestone closed. One of the many nights they closed. We thought it was the very last night of the Milestone. Cosmo came in and did his thing. Look, we got Phil Irwin. He came up. I don't remember what all he was doing, other than probably stirring up the crowd. But then I think they kind of got it and understood it and kind of went with it a little better. But what I remember also about this is not only was it the closing of the Milestone, it was really kind of the last of their real grand heyday. I mean, they came back pretty strong when Neil Harper took it over about, God, that's been more than 15 years ago. So this is a long time ago. And anyway, there was a film crew filming that night. I'm pretty sure this is the same show. And that resulted in the Destructo video, another rare ANTiSEEN home video. And by the time this came out, Greg had left the band and had been replaced by Barry. I think Barry's first show is still on this. And I think this is all on the One Live Son of a Bitch triple disc set, if anyone has that. I think it came with a DVD that had all this stuff on it. But I think that was all filmed on that same night. And also had Barry's first show. Let's see what else we got here. Trying to speed things up. This was almost the last Mad Brother Ward show. I think I did one more after that until I started playing again in the early 2000s. And I didn't make it. I was sick that night. And I remember them going, "Oh, you chicken out, you chicken out." I'm not chicken out. I was in the hospital. Anyway, I missed this show. This was one that I missed. They started playing a lot at this place called Jeremiah's. And we, to hype the show, my band snuck in. We had Greg playing with us. And Brad, my friend Brad, and a guy named Chris. Brad somehow had painted his face like Ace Frehley, and we went and invaded their open mic night. And they were like telling us, oh, you can't be an established band. We're like, well, we're not established. And we kind of scared the hell out of everybody. It was fun. And then that was the kind of the beginning of our kind of a separation. We had the falling out. Jeff was talking about the heel turn. I was responsible for a heel turn. You know, it was what it was. But of course, when you're friends like we were, it was inevitable that we'd end up falling back in together. But we didn't talk for a long time because of stupid shit. But I finally came back around, and that's when things started really kind of picking up steam. But in that time, let's see, I got some other stuff here from that. I think this is the 93 European tour. I think it's the 93 European tour poster they used. I don't like this one as much. I've also got a in a frame here. I got a I think this is 90. Maybe that was, I don't know. Maybe this might be the same tour. I don't even know. Jeff, I'd have to tell you. I don't know. I like this one a lot. This is when they recycled that artwork I showed you, the Walking Dead stuff. And Jeff's going to take probably issue with this, but I'm going to say this because it's my memory, the way I remember it. This design was my idea. And then what they were talking about was, by the time this artwork was really starting to get into use, that lineup didn't exist anymore. The Walking Dead picture had, I guess it was Doug and Tom. Tom was still in the band. And I was like, why don't you just take you and make the Dawn of the Dead poster, do a thing like that, and say, instead of when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. When there's no more room in hell, ANTiSEEN will walk the earth. And I think Jeff turned it to Tour the Earth. And that's how I remember it anyway. And I'm going to take credit for it because there ain't a lot I can take credit for in that era. But I remember feeling pretty good about it anyway. Jeff might tell a different story, and his might be right too, but that's the way I remember it. And I just love this poster. I think it's badass. Got another question?
The front man says that's fake news.
Fake news? Just telling how I remember it. We got, let's see here, 20th anniversary show. Not light reflecting on that?
No, you're good.
You know, that night was kind of a blur for me. I remember being there, and I remember being up front. It was before I really kind of was back in, I guess you could say. I was good friends with the Dead Kings. Steve and Jeff, I still talk to on the regular. Bad Vibes, that was Gavin's band. And he does, his last band was called Done Deal, and they were really cool. And of course, Cosmo trying to round people, rabble rouse. That was the 20th anniversary. I guess that was 2003, which, God, that doesn't seem that long ago now. It's funny how time twists in your head. The younger you are and the older you are. The older you are, the faster it goes. But in that time frame, there was a point when they got to, let's see, I've got this stuff kind of maybe mixed up. I don't think I have a 25th anniversary poster. But I do have this. It was a variant that they had, and then I think some of the bands changed. Polecat didn't play. The Polecat Boogie Revival had Tom Hughes, who passed away last week, sadly, and we'll talk a bit more about him in a few minutes. But Joe Buck, I know, came and opened. I don't know if anyone else played that night or not. And I don't have the alternate flyer for that, and they didn't use this one, but I figured it's worth noting because it is kind of an unusual variant. And then, let's see, the 25th anniversary, if I remember right, was the last show when they had Greg and Doug Knight, and I think they both dropped out right after that show, and they were going to have this period of downtime, and Jeff was like trying to figure out a way to keep busy, and we came upon the idea of doing like a solo band. And so he kind of was like, well, help me find some people. And so I started talking to people, and we ended up with a lineup with a guy named Mike Hendricks from a band called the Belmont Playboys, which some of you may remember or have heard of. Mike it's kind of a local legend here for sure. And so it was kind of a super group in a way. And Jeff wanted me to play guitar for some reason, I don't know, but had the Jeff Clayton and the Mongrels, and we played, you know, a handful of shows. I can't remember how many. I have a flyer for one of them here, though. This was the Penguin Pig Pickin'. The Penguin was a popular restaurant in Charlotte, and every 4th of July they would do a kind of a big throwdown kind of block party. They would close off the street, do fireworks, had a big, you know, pig picking, obviously, and had bands play. And we got the headline that year. And actually, this show for us turned out to not be a good show because the weather was bad. It rained. The sound guy didn't seem really equipped to handle outdoor sound. We were just really against the elements. But we did do some cool shows, and we made a really cool record. If you ever get a chance to find it, I don't know if it's still available or not. What we got, a question?
Favorite memory of Tomcat?
Oh, gosh. You know, the thing about Tom Hughes is he was just one of those solid, good dudes. And he wasn't a real forceful presence. He was a real laid-back guy. Didn't put up a lot of airs and not, you know, wasn't a convoluted or you know, some people put on that kind of, you know, I got to be cool if they're in their band thing. I got to go in the band mode, you know. He wasn't that kind of guy. I have a memory mostly, I think, of Tom in St. Louis one night. We were on tour. This is before I joined the band. I was just selling the merch back then, and I think Tom was just feeling it. He was just having a good time, and I just remember he was just being really funny, and I just thought, you know, that's a cool guy. I like that guy, and I think he got a little overboard that night, but you know, I just remember being really funny and having a good time with him on the streets of St. Louis. I also can remember he got up and did. We posted this on the ANTiSEEN page last week. He got up and played one night with us in Knoxville, and we did a cover of Alice Cooper's "Sick Things," and man, it was powerful. I mean, super powerful. That guy could, you know, no practice. We were just like, hey, you want to do it? And he's like, yeah, sure. And it was just like hand in glove. He just jumped up and did it. That was how good he was. And that was a good memory, you know, and just having that, you know, you could feel it when you play. You can just, especially when you got that second guitar hit, and you know, you feel like you're lifting off the ground. It's incredible. But, man, Tom Hughes was a good dude. Another guy we lost this week, another guy that I knew was a tattoo artist named Tom Wilkinson. And I hate that, you know, all this kind of bad stuff is hitting. He was another good dude. He did this artwork on my arm right here, Tom Wilkinson did. And it's one of my favorite tattoos, Spirit of 71. I came to him with the idea, it was my birthday. I think it was my 35th birthday. And I was like, I want to get a tattoo for my birthday. And he's like, well, what are you thinking? And I said, heavy negative. And this is what he came up with. It was like Spirit of 71, the year they dropped the bomb. So remember both Tom Hughes and Tom Wilkinson, you know, gone too soon. It just really sucks. And, you know, all my condolences and best to their friends and family. And anyway, not to hit the speed bump here. Let's see. I got some more stuff here. Try to keep this rolling. ANTiSEEN played with the Doors at the end of 2008. And this is a poster for it. And I know John Adam, if he's watching, he has one. I thought this thing was lost. I thought I'd lost mine. I found it when I was going through stuff to find for this video. And that was a cool night because it flooded. We were in Charleston, South Carolina, and it flooded, and it was crazy. And there's still a big crowd. People came out in like droves for this, and it was super violent. I remember there being a ton of bloodshed for just any number of reasons. And I don't mean just Jeff. I'm talking about people in the crowd. It was just violent, super violent. And it was a good night, and the Doors were really fucking cool people. And just a good night and a good memory, and I wish this would happen more often because these two bands complement each other really, really well. Let's see, I'm going to skip over probably some of this. Blowfly and ANTiSEEN with me playing, that was I think 2008 or maybe before, I don't know, I can't remember. But obviously ANTiSEEN and Blowfly had done a lot of touring together before. Blowfly has, of course, recently passed away too, but that was a memorable night. Let's see, what else we got here? The first of the Thirsty Beaver shows, I think this was the first time they did that, and that's become kind of a tradition. I guess we're not doing the Beaver so much now because there's bad parking over there, and the boys have they own the place, also have a restaurant, and we've been doing that. So it's now over at the Tipsy Burro. We tried to do that. Started off being around Halloween, and we moved it to Christmas, so now it's really more our Christmas show. But this was the first time they did it, and this, of course, was before I joined the band. Really intense shows, and cramped in this tight little place. I mean, it was a small little bar, and it was really fun. More stuff I got here. I like this. I just like this. I don't know why. I just like this poster. This was May 19th, 2010. So this is Fargo, North Dakota. And if you've ever been to Fargo, North Dakota, I'm sorry. This is from the next night at the Triple Rock, which I guess doesn't exist anymore in Minneapolis. That was a fun night. Guys from Impaler came out, and they were cool guys. I just like the design on that. I can't remember if I was at this show or not, but this is a repro. This isn't an original flyer. But 11/11/11. I'm pretty sure I was at this show. So they did a tour with Hellstomper, and I was talking about Tom and Sam, St. Louis. And that whole trip was pretty fun. Here's a cool silkscreen I got from Oklahoma City from that tour. And it's, anything with Ric Flair is cool. Someone was asking about wrestling stuff, and it's going to pop up more than invariably with us. So that's a cool one. 30th anniversary. And it's signed by past and present members. Some of them signed in black. I don't know why. Whatever. So there's Joe Williams and Trip McNeil and Tom O'Keefe and Joe Young and Doug Knipe. So, and then all the current members at the time, John Bowman. So that's a cool thing to have. And that was, what was that? 30 years? That would have been 2013. Then there's some stuff from when I joined the band. Let's see what else I got here. Here's a flyer from Europe. I collect these European tour posters. Here's another one. This is from, I think, 95. They were pushing hell. That's I like that poster. It's a cool poster. Obviously, that was after Barry had joined. That might have been Barry's first Europe tour. I have a European tour poster from almost every one they did, except for the tour I did, of course. And ask me why that happened, I don't know. Although I did get one of these. This is kind of cool. This is the Bastard Club. They were really cool and really accommodating, and it was a fun night. That was the night Negative Approach opened for us, and I think it's on YouTube. Jeff got on stage and did I Gotta Write, the Stooges song, with Negative Approach, so look for that. It's really cool. Grabbed one of these for myself, because I didn't get a European tour poster. This might be the last ever show the ANTiSEEN will ever play in Europe. Nah, I'm sure it'll be more, but thus far, that was the last show. It was kind of a surprise show. We had a cancellation, and this guy picked up the open date, and made it happen in this tiny little, I'm pretty sure this is the same show, yeah, Göppingen. And it was a tiny little place, and it was really cool. The crowd really gathered in around us, and I remember playing Animals and them singing along, and they were louder than the band. It was insane. There was some insane stuff, of course, then the pits. I was told before we even got there, this isn't going to be like any show you've ever had before. And I was like, okay, not thinking. And it was not like any show we had ever had before. The pits was absolutely insane. It lived up to the hype, because usually, people hype up stuff and it always kind of comes up a little short. This was hyped up, only it was way beyond what they hyped it up to be. It was just absolute insanity. We played in the afternoon, and that was again, kind of a small place, and it packed out. And they had already, they set up almost like a block party in our honor. I don't know how else to explain it. They had they were grilling out sausages and stuff, and all these people were out hanging out and stuff. And then we got up and played, and it was like they just went nuts in the middle of the afternoon. And when we got done, the floor had to have been an inch deep in beer and water and sweat and broken glass and stuff. And it was like when we got done, they wouldn't let you walk up. You couldn't get off the stage. There's no way to get on stage except from just off the floor or across the bar. You had to actually climb across the bar to get onto the stage. And they wouldn't let you get off the stage. They would try to get off the stage, and they were physically pushing you back to keep you from leaving. It was insane. I can't even begin to explain it in a way that makes it sound good, but it was pretty cool. Later on, let's see, we did the tour with Zeke in 2017. This is a poster from Austin, Texas. I think the guys in the band Hit and Run made these posters. They did a good job. They were a cool band. Against the Grain, of course, they're a great band from Michigan. We got to do the whole run with them. They were really good dudes. And Zeke, of course, goes without saying. That was a lot of fun. This was a weird place to play, though, but I really like this poster. I think it's really cool. And let's see, what else we got here? And, of course, 35th anniversary poster from the 35th anniversary at the neighborhood theater. We got treated really well by these people, too. This is the first time we played there, and it was a really good experience. It's a really cool place. Of course, you know, that was an emotional night, you know, for a lot of different reasons. Let's see here. This is a poster from Japan. We played a thing called the Genocide Fest. This was the last night in Japan. Played with a band called Abigail, which some of y'all probably are familiar with. And it was a wrestling event, too. And this is a wrestling thing, whoever asked. They did the Japanese death match, barbed wire, broken glass, all that crazy stuff. And every 2 or 3 matches, one of the bands would play. And then finally, when the matches were over, we were the last band to play. And if you listen to the Live in Japan, some of the songs are from that. And the ending of the record is from this show, where they were yelling, "Please don't go," and all that. That was an amazing experience. I can't even begin to describe what that was like. It was really cool. Anyway, that's kind of covers a lot of the stuff that I got just sort of laying around. I got a couple more things, I guess, real quick. Oh, absolutely want to show this. We'll end it with this because I like this flyer. They played with the Sloppy Seconds. God, what was this? Might have been 2014. They had these up. It was at Reggie's Rock Club, and anyone that's familiar with that place, they got like they're like movie posters along the front. And so this is the only one of these that exists. This is the only one. They made flyers of it, but this is the only poster-sized one. And really, if you look at it, what they did was they puzzled it together, and it's pretty cool. And I saw it in the window, and I was like asking the guy, I'm like, "Hey, man, can I get that poster?" And he was like, "No, can't do it." I don't like hearing that. So I just kept on it. And finally, at the end of the night, he went out there and unlocked the thing and pulled it out and gave it to me. So I always like that. I think it's a cool, I just think it's a cool poster. I like it. And Sloppy Seconds are great. We got to play with them again sometime after I joined the band, and they're always a good time. So that's pretty much it. Just thought I'd share some of that stuff with you. Thought you might dig it. I'm not really a good talker. I apologize. I'm more of a writer. That's what I do, you know. So, you know, next time you see me, if you don't like it, you know, beat me up, break my pencils, whatever. You got any questions? Anybody got questions? Any questions coming up there? No? One?
I don't know.
Nothing? Well, anyway, hope y'all enjoyed it. And, of course, I guess Jeff will be on again Friday? I believe it's Friday he does. He'll do Friday, 5 o'clock. It's always 5 o'clock. Check the ANTiSEEN page. I'm sure we'll hype it. Of course, Malcolm will be back Sunday at 5 as well, telling better stories. And I'm sure I'll get my correction on the Walking Dead poster. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch up soon.